Dobre den și bună ziua de aici din Pilsen, Cehia. Acum am ieșit de la hotel. Astăzi avem ziua cu turul la fabrica de bere PILSNER URQUELL. Doar că am ieșit noi ceva mai devreme. Acum mai mergem să mai bem o cafeluță până ajungem. Facem oricum pe jos 20 de minute de la hotel până acolo, nu e foarte departe.
Așteptăm să iasă și soarele, că momentan sunt cam mulți nori.
Da. Dar oricum nu contează că acolo să fim în interior, deci o să fie bine. Și o să fie friguț, din ce am înțeles, că au niște pivnițe, beciuri, da? Unde e destul de frig, la 5 grade, să vedem. Chiar suntem foarte curioși de tur.
Da.
Ne-am oprit și la McDonald's și ne-am luat aici o gustărică, 2 hamburgeri și 2 cafeluțe mici. Cam scump așa, 37 de lei, mi se pare multișor. Am ieșit și de la Mac și mergem spre fabrica de bere și acum am trecut pe un pod așa și e un râu foarte mare, Radbuza se cheamă. Aici e ca un fel de cascadă făcută așa. Wow, ce clădire mare abandonată aici. Nu știu ce-o fi fost înainte. Cam aici ar trebui să fie intrarea pentru fabrică, unde-i poarta asta mai în depărtare așa. Doar că noi trebuie să traversăm pe partea cealaltă și trebuie să o luăm pe podul ăsta, așa, pe aici. Am ajuns și la poarta asta foarte interesantă și să vedem aici în complex pe unde ar începe turul. Poarta este una iconică pentru orașul Pilsen și aici are și stema orașului Pilsen. Și a fost terminată în 1892, unde scrie acolo. Hai să vedem, intrăm acum și să vedem ce e aici. E ca un complex așa. Aha, acolo e Visitor Center, scrie. Și probabil fabrica e undeva acolo, aia. Acum intrăm la Visitor Center, mai avem până începe turul, dar să stăm pe aici, că e cam friguț pe afară. Wow, câte sticle aici. Oh, ce călduț aici, da. Și uite, scrie și PILSNER URQUELL. Super tare asta din sticle. Mai sunt ori și noi așteptăm după un grup, că ne-am înscris la 2:20, mai avem vreo jumătate de oră până începe turul și văd că se organizează grupuri așa. Până atunci ne uităm și noi pe aici să vedem ce e. Wow, ce tare! Ia uite cum prepară acolo sus bericica.
Ți-ar plăcea într-o fabrică.
Wow, ia uite aici ce tare.
Wow.
Cred că pe aici o să fie turul, bănuiesc. Ha. Da, ia. Și dacă se rupe asta și picăm.
Nu se rupe, că e groasă sticla asta.
Da. Motocicleta PILSNER URQUELL. Nu e nimeni la bar să ne facă și nouă aici o bericică.
My name is Patricia and I'm your guide, and I will show you places dedicated to the history, the old production, the real production for the whole world today. And at the end of our visit, we'll reach our historical cellars underground where you can taste the unfiltered and unpasteurized beer. So the freshest of the freshest and the best of the best directly from our traditional oak barrel, but only if you're 8 years old and more. So if you're not an adult, no beer for you. You need to return when you're adult. Before we start our visit, I need to ask you to follow some simple rules during the city. The city of Pilsen was established in the 13th century by the King Wenceslaw II. This king had this idea to create a city of beer in a strategic area of Bohemia. Bohemia is now the greatest part of Czech Republic, and now we are in Bohemia. By the strategic area, he meant an area where merchants would meet and actually pay a fee to enter the city, stay for a night, and drink a lot of beer. So pay more. We're quite a prosperous city. We were rich. But at the beginning, I'd say, in the 19th century, we had problems with our beer. We had about 260 brewmasters, so around 260 different recipes of poor quality. The quality wasn't the best because the hygiene in the 19th century wasn't the best. And also because we produced a top fermented beer. Then we're calling them ales. And when you produce an ale, you need warm temperature to create alcohol. So we combine bad hygiene with warm temperature. Of course, the result is not the best. So all that contributed to the event in 1838, when 36 barrels full of beer were spilled on the floor in the main square of the city. And they spilled it there because the quality was so awful, it's disgusting. It was impossible to sell or drink. And there was a reason why our brewmasters finally met together and discussed what to change to save their job and the reputation of the beer coming from the city. So their final decision was to open only one brewery with only one recipe. And they opened only this one in 1842. It was the most modern in Europe back in the 19th century. They had the best technology of the time, they had amazing ingredients they produced themselves, and they had the plan to create something new. But the problem was they had no idea how to do that. And it was a nice coincidence that in Bavaria, Germany, at that very moment, they found out a new way of creating alcohol, the so-called bottom fermentation with low temperature. So the opposite from what the world was doing at that moment in history. So he wanted to learn. We invited this Bavarian brewmaster, his name was Joseph Groll, and we invited him to actually learn from him how to do this new alcohol procedure. So we started experimenting with old and new, and October 5th, 1842, we finally did it. And by accident, we created the very first bottom fermented pale lager beer in the world. The name of it today is Pilsner URQUELL, and that name means the original source from the city Pilsen, the source of beer, of course. The recipe is unchanged since the very first day. The only thing we're continuously changing is the technology, because since the first day we're trying to be also high-tech production. Here you can see another picture of the brewery after 50 years from the first picture. You can see that we enlarged the brewery pretty quickly. It was like a village in the city. We had flats for the workers, school for the children of the workers, we had stables with horses, an orchard with apples so women could produce their own drink, they were calling it a cider. We also had our electricity and water system, so we didn't need a city to supply us. On the contrary, we supplied the city not just our amazing beer, but also energy. Some of the streets were lit thanks to the brewery. It was really like a village in the city. Today it doesn't work like a community anymore, but it's still a brewery that we are expanding with new technologies, new facilities, but most importantly, new types of beers.
Very nice. It doesn't look like he was drunk. He was drunk.
Aici în spate avem medalii care le-a obținut berea de-a lungul timpului din zonă și paharele sunt din cristal de Bohemia.
Using only 100 liters, not much fast checks. And in the past, new employees were trained how Pilsner URQUELL is produced on this device. Also in here, we're making small batches of Pilsner URQUELL, and we are doing experiments. Pilsner URQUELL is a recipe we don't want to change ever, but our company owns approximately 60% of other drinks, mainly beers and ciders, that we sell in this country. And some of our brands are more experimental, and some really small experiments can be executed in here behind my back. The main part in the middle is made of copper. Copper is extremely important because it leads to heat and neutralizes some chemical reactions that can become toxic at the end of the process. And we don't want our beer to be toxic. It must be natural and safe and awesome. So that's why copper is helping us, and it's really an important part of our secret recipe. We need minimum 2 machines to create one batch of beer. So 1 kettle and 1 tan, which means the liquid is moved from one to the other back and forth while we're brewing it. It's complicated to understand now, but don't worry, you're gonna get it throughout the tour. Here we brew basic ingredients, water and malt, and we're also heating hops in there. A festival called Pilsner Fest, and it's in October. And it's in October not because of the Oktoberfest in Germany, no. It's because we celebrate the very first Pilsner URQUELL brewed in October 1842. Last October we celebrated 180 years, so quite an important milestone. And this October we're planning another birthday party, of course, and of course you all are invited. Please come, someone needs to drink that beer. On that side of our main beautiful courtyard, you can see that gate. It's our symbol. We're calling it the anniversary gate. It's made of sandstone, and we open it after the 50th anniversary of the brewery. So that's why the anniversary or jubilee gate. You can see it on the seal. When you turn around, you can see the traditional writing Pilsner Urquell, and above it you can see that seal with the year 1842, the year of the establishment of the brewery, and that gate in the middle. You can see that signature on every product of Pilsner Urquell, every bar and restaurant, pub, where we are offering it. So whenever you see that gate, you know you're completely thirsty. Marketing. When you look over there, you can see that pale yellow-ish building with a glass entrance. There you can get more beer after the tour if you're still thirsty. And there is a restaurant as well. It used to be the largest restaurant in the country 2 years ago, but it was quite difficult to serve over 600 people, so we made it a bit smaller, but it's still historically very important because it's not inside a building, it's underneath. It used to be part of the cellars in the past. It was one of the mini rooms for the fermentation. On the other side of the courtyard, you can see that yellow building with the clock on the roof, the chimneys. Looks like a chocolate factory of Willy Wonka. It's not but it's the old historical brew house where we brew the beer in the past, officially until 2004. And next to it there is a glass building that looks like a ship, because in here we have the theme of the ocean appear. So it's like a ship on the ocean appear, and inside the glass building we ship the big trains, tracks, carts full of beer, and even before the 1900s we're able to ship the beer to New York. So quite fast to make our beer known everywhere in the world. I cannot guarantee the condition it arrived in, but we certainly tried. You can see part of the train in here, train wagon. The walls inside were empty, which means that during the transportation in the summer period, they added ice cubes inside the walls that we reserved from the winter in our cellars. And during the winter period of transportation, we added hot bricks, because without that the beer would get frozen before it reached the customers. So we had to be smart and find ways to protect the beer from weather in every season. Now you can see the two carts. The first one by the wagon was for the natural ice coming from ponds and lakes in the city. The ice is important not just to transport the beer by the train in the summer, but mainly to produce it. I already mentioned before that we need cold temperature to create our beer. So in the past they had no technologies, they had just the cellars underground, and of course the natural and then even artificial ice. The ice was also very important for the pouring of the beer. The tapping process is half of the taste. So the tapster must be trained in the craft. And there are many rules he needs to follow. The main important rule is the temperature of the beer while you're drinking it and also serving it. When you're drinking Pilsner Urquell, you should have about 6-7 degrees Celsius. And again, the ice we gave them was very important to allow this style of pouring.
O să mergem și cu autobuzul acum.
Mergem la plimbare.
Ia să vedem acum unde ne duce cu autobuzul. Că am luat autobuzul să mergem.
So this is the water tower of the brewery. It's actually not working anymore since 2005, but it's here since 1907. It's 50 meters high, and it was a tank for water. We had 2 wells underneath the tower, one for the water that was for the brewing, second one was for the cleaning water, for the usual kinds of the use of water. Get in, please. Okay, so here on display you can see some of the brands we're own. So it's not just Pilsner Urquell, as I mentioned before. There's so many other products, different types of beer, ciders, and alcoholic beer with some flavors that we call Radler. So if you don't like Pilsner Urquell, fair enough. You know, we are trying to give you options so you find your best product. So these are just some of them that we own. We have even more of them. These are the main ones that we fill here in the packing area. And it was wise to open it because, as I said, we have not just Pilsner Urquell, but many other brands that we own. Sometimes we help even other brands that are not ours, but they pay well. But other brands we own, yes, it was cheaper for younger people. It was easier to get with you, to take with you for, I don't know, trips, camping, and stuff like that. but it's not eco. So we decided we don't want to do plastic anymore. So last summer we just got rid of it. It's not there anymore, but it filled about 18,000 plastic bottles per hour. So it used to be very, very fast. Then we have the orange area. Both are for the usual glass bottles. This one is for recycled bottles that we can reuse up to 30 times here in the Czech Republic. And this one is for new bottles. Each one alone can fill 60,000 bottles per hour. So when they are both going, it's quite mesmerizing to see. It's quite fast. Anyway, here in the Czech Republic, when you buy a bottle of beer, you're paying also for the glass bottle itself. So when you finish the beer inside, you can give us the bottle back in a local store, and we give you back some money for it, like 3 crowns. Some people are actually making a living out of that, so I don't recommend it. Anyway, then we collect all of the bottles back here. We display the bottles one by one on the line, and they go inside the washing machine.
Acum am intrat în fabrică aici.
Wow, ce cald e! Și un miros de drojdie.
A, da, a ce miroase?
A drojdie.
Drojdie? Wow, deci sunt o grămadă de sticle din astea de bere aici, deci chiar sunt multe rău.
Aici spunea că pe bandă sunt spălate și după aceea sunt umplut.
Buteliete, da. Wow, dar nu se mișcă momentan, sunt așa ea. E imensă fabrica asta și asta e doar o parte, că ne zicea că aici în tur nu o să vedem toată fabrica, o să vedem o mică părticică din ea. Da, e foarte cald. Cum se face aici sport în fabrică?
Poate fi o pistă de alergare bună.
Ce ai pierdut?
Căciula. O pusesem aici, că vai ce caldă mi-e.
Big production of our beer. We are now in the largest personal lift. Elevator, I don't know what you prefer, in the Czech Republic. It's for 72 people, but I always suggest it's not for 72 brewmasters, if you get what I mean. When you meet a brewmaster, they usually, not always, but usually they have a beer belly. Beer is full of sugars, carbohydrates. That's why we're calling it liquid bread, and you're hungry after the beer as well. So maybe that's the reason why half of the Czech population looks like a brewmaster. We're a small country, but we are the first beer drinkers in the world a few years in a row. So we're the leading beer drinkers. Of course, we know the craft. We know how to make the beer, so we should also enjoy it ourselves, right? So that's what we do. Out. History of the beer finally introduces also the production part of our tour that follows after the film itself. But this video is also here to tell you that this is not just a drink, it's much more than that. It's part of our history, tradition and heritage. This beer was here with us during difficult times in history as a sign of hope, as a sign of unity of Czech people. This beer was on the table while we planned revolutions to get our freedom back multiple times throughout history when we were occupied by different countries and oppression and so on. So this beer is truly the heart of Czech Republic. It's our symbol, and it's still supporting the economy of the whole world, sports, arts, revolutions in general, innovations. So this beer is truly us Czechs. I hope this video is going to help you understand its importance a bit better, but most importantly, I hope this video is going to make it a bit more thirsty.
Welcome to Pilsen. Welcome to the city where the world-famous Pilsner URQUELL beer began over 170 years ago. It started in the early 19th century, when the Bavarian beer style using new bottom fermentation became popular. Not wanting to be left behind, the Pilsen burghers and 250 families with brewing rights decided in 1839 to build a brewery to produce high-quality beer. The people of Pilsen invited Bavarian brewer Josef Groll to help them at the new brewery. With his skills, new technology and local ingredients, the brewery made a new beer type. Its quality exceeded all expectations. The first golden lager was introduced in October 1842. The beer quickly became famous in Prague and neighbouring countries. This and the nectar from the Pilsen led to a completely new beer type known as Pils, Pilsner or Pilsener. Pilsner is one of the most popular beer types in the world today and inspires over 2/3 of beer brands. What makes Pilsner URQUELL beer so unique? It's brewed with the very best Czech ingredients. Soft water from the brewery's own wells, top quality Czech barley to produce Pilsner malt, and Saaz hops. Since production began, the original brewing process has been used, despite being costly, complicated and time-consuming. But this means Pilsner URQUELL beer achieves its characteristic bitter caramel flavour, golden colour and thick creamy white head. Because of its uniqueness, lager from Pilsen spread quickly around the world. It was supplied to the imperial court in Vienna and from 1873 was exported to America. The beer has won many awards and also celebrated success at World Expo events in Paris and Brussels. Today, we export Pilsner URQUELL to over 50 countries. To maintain our high quality, we train staff in our pubs and organise contests to find the best bartenders. Pilsen pubs abroad are icons of Czech beer culture, offering patrons the ultimate beer experience. Pilsner URQUELL and Czech national pride are inseparable. Pilsner URQUELL has sponsored heritage restoration and supported community projects and sporting events. We've always taken advantage of modern technology, but the process to brew Pilsner URQUELL has stayed the same. This is the Pilsen tradition appreciated the world over. After all, we've been creating this Czech legend since 1842. May God bless you with happiness.
Then the first, barley, water. Water is the absolute base because it gives body to the beer. 92% of beer is water, so we have to use the best quality we can find. We are using the water from underneath the city. We have like a lot of water underneath the city, and we have 5 wells that dig 100 meters to take the water from underneath the city. The water we use is very pure, it's soft, it's even better than the water for babies. And that's the reason why Pilsner URQUELL should be actually produced only in the city, because this water is truly, I'd say a signature to Pilsner Urquell. Because if you produce Pilsner Urquell anywhere else in the world with a different kind of water, it's not Pilsner Urquell. So as I said, it's even better than the water for babies, but we're using it just for Pilsner Urquell, for our for the grown-up babies. So something of quality ourselves to drink, for ourselves I mean. In about 1 liter of beer, we're using 3 liters of water. So there is a huge amount of water we use for our production, but don't worry, we still have enough of water, so there's still plenty to drink. So we can slowly move forward. To me, another ingredient on the list, also check. And it's a piece of history, guys. It's part of history that we are using every single bottle of today's Pilsner Urquell. Just look in the microscopes. They're all the same, just pick one. And in a microscope, you can see another ingredient. Most breweries are combining different types of hops, different brands. We are making just one. In terms of the North American Republic with fields, a slightly very desired. Many breweries all around the world are desiring to put hands on this type of hops, and many are actually using it. Even the Irish beer Guinness is using a little bit of our Czech sauce hops, mixing it together with different types. But we are using just this one, and we're using twice more of this product than many other brands of beer, because we are trying not to use artificial aromas. Okay, so that's the reason why we use a lot of our ingredients of the premium quality, really coming just from Czech Republic. And this ingredient is a natural preservative. So naturally, it preserves the freshness. It's also extremely healthy. It's very good for digestion, and it helps to relax your body and your senses. I'm sure you know the effects of beer. You drink just a little bit of a light beer, almost immediately feel very sleepy and relaxed, which is great. Most people think it's because of the alcohol. So if it's a lower percentage of alcohol, like around 4.5, of course, after 1 glass you're not drunk. That comes later throughout the evening. The first effect you feel after the beer is thanks to hops. It's because hops are from the same family as cannabis. They're like cousins in the family of plants. Don't worry, it doesn't have a THC. Okay, so totally safe. You can even make infusion teas out of this ingredient. It's better than chamomile, so it's really good for digestion. So maybe that's the reason why Czechs are drinking so much beer, because our cuisine is quite heavy. We need to digest all that. And as I said, naturally it relaxes our body and our senses. So if you want to taste our hops, you can. Again, I'm just telling you, be careful if you're allergic to it, to beer in general, don't taste it, okay? So they're all three the same. It's just the dry form of the hop, so don't worry. Take a bit on the palm of your hand and taste. No, I wouldn't recommend that, but it's up to you anyway. Leave it on your tongue. Leave it dissolve with the saliva, and you're gonna actually experience different levels of taste. At first, you taste nothing, and there is a strong explosion of bitterness. After like 5 seconds from that moment, the aftertaste of beer arrives. So it's so interesting to see how only one ingredient can affect so much the final product, which is the beer. And after about 5-10 minutes from the first tasting, a sense of refreshment arrives, like similar to the one when you finish drinking a herbal tea or something like that. So it's very, very, very interesting to witness all those changes in a taste. So if you're not afraid, go on. Of course, the liquid form.
Da, niște... Nu e malț, am uitat cum îi zice, hops. La început nimic, cum ziceam. Mamă, și după aia amar.
Amar rău?
Da.
Deci e gustul amarului.
Da. Stai să văd... E foarte amar. Și atât momentan nu-mi dau seama altceva.
So here we can see the 4 ingredients, premium quality coming from Czech Republic. Each ingredient gives to the beer something specific, something very important, but it's more important how and where we mix all of that together, because that gives to the beer the main taste, aroma, and color. We're gonna now find out how we put together all these ingredients. Just before we go on, I need to ask you to be very careful. We're heading downstairs. I need to ask you, don't rush it, okay? I know you're excited, I know you want to drink the beer, but please slowly down the stairs. We have 2 ways of stairs, left and right. Please try to use both of them. It's a big room. be faster in a...
Welcome to the historical brew house. Pilsner Urquell is brewed using a unique brewing procedure, which has remained the same since 1842, when the beer was brewed for the first time by brewmaster Joseph Kroll. The brewery's brewmasters have always used the state-of-the-art technology equipment of the time, and have always selected the highest quality Czech ingredients for the production of Pilsner Urquell. Pilsner Urquell beer is brewed using 3 gifts of Czech nature. Top quality soft water, which we draw from our own 100-metre deep wells. The highest quality Czech and Moravian barley, which we use to produce our own Pilsner type malt. The barley is steeped, then it is left to germinate, and in the next step, the so-called green malt is dried. Saaz semi-early red vine hops, a world-renowned hop variant. The brewhouse is the heart of the brewery. The procedure for brewing Pilsner Urquell beer is unique and inimitable worldwide. It is based on triple brewing of the mash while it is directly heated. This process, called mashing, takes place in a copper kettle, heated by a flame to a temperature of up to 600 degrees Celsius. The malt is milled and mixed with water. 1/3 of the mixture is transferred to a copper kettle, where it is left to boil, is then pumped back into the mash tun. This process is repeated 3 times. Unlike other types of beer, where this process is repeated only once or twice, Pilsner Urquell beer is born within a triple mash process, in a copper kettle directly heated by natural gas. This leads to caramelization at the bottom of the kettle, and the subsequent formation of the aromatic substances, which give the beer its typical colour, taste, and aroma. The product from the triple heating of water and malt is sweet wort. When sweet wort is lautered and transferred to the wort kettle, hops are added 3 times. The product from boiling sweet wort with hops is called hopped wort. Fermentation is a process that converts sugar into alcohol, ethanol. By adding oxygen and brewer's yeast to cool the hopped wort, the sugar from the malt is turned into alcohol and carbon dioxide. The result of slow and cold fermentation is green beer. It then matures in lager tanks for approximately 30 days, which is why Pilsner Urquell is called bottom fermented pale lager. Pilsner Urquell beer is distributed to customers in bottles, cans, barrels and tanks. Just like back in the era of brewmaster Joseph Kroll, the total production time of Pilsner Urquell beer is approximately 5 weeks. Cheers.
So now we know how Pilsner Urquell is being produced. We're going to go to the northern brew house for men.
Aici e cuibușorul meu la căldură. Doamne, cât de cald e, cred că sunt 30.
Aici e foarte cald pentru că se face berea la foc și la 600 de grade din astea 4 butoaie și e cu gaz încălzit, ne explica.
Remember that picture? Exactly the spot of that building. It doesn't exist anymore officially, but this is where everything had started. If you look down here, you can see an arch made of bricks and a wall in the shadows, the white wall in the shadows. Both are the last parts of the very first building, built in 1842, of the municipal brewery that is now Pilsner Urquell's company. So yeah, this is the start of all our success. You can see the copies of the artifacts that we given to the Pope. The city of Pilsen is closely linked with the Vatican City for centuries, for years. But Pilsner Urquell itself has a tradition that is longer than 100 years with the Pope himself as well. Every Easter, bishop comes to the brewery, he blesses the batch of Easter, and that blessed batch is then traveling with the chief brewmaster to the Pope. So he hands it to the Pope directly. That happened a few days ago, like 2 weeks ago, because we had Easter, right? Of course, Pope drinks wine, but he's a fan of Pilsner Urquell too, guys, for years. But now look behind these beautiful glasses. You can see photos, black and white photos representing different time periods, but mainly different jobs. Because Pilsner Urquell beer, beer in general, is not just about a brewmaster, not at all. It's about people taking care about a beer in details. I'm sure when you go out with your friends, you never think about how many people are behind that one glass of beer enjoying with your friend. So there are hundreds of thousands of people, and so much history behind that one glass you're enjoying. So it's important to mention them as well. It's about people taking care of malt in different stages. Cooper still producing barrels. We're the last place in Central Europe still producing oak barrels, not only for beer because that's limited, but for other products as well, wine, etc. And we're in the UNESCO heritage with this job, so we're really proud of these guys. They actually achieved such an important milestone in their career and in history as well. So people taking care of filling, distribution all around the world and promotion. Over there you can see two photographs that are modern of the horses with the cart that's still transporting the beer in our city today. So it's about these people and even more that we cannot even fit inside this one single room. They are Pilsner Urquell, and Pilsner Urquell is also you guys. Because you're the real fuel for them to do this job for almost 200 years. It's a very difficult job. Without your support, your love, your enjoyment of the beer, or just your curiosity, if that's the reason why you're here now today, that's all important and supporting a piece of history that's still being created today. So thank you very much and keep going. With moderation. Moderation is the key. Droid for the war. So we thought even this fell for it, but not at all. Our employees wanted to save for us the future generation. So they hid it well at first in the malt house, so underneath the hoard of malt, and then they buried it in the main courtyard. A few years after the war, they found it underneath the pavement, and we're so happy to have it because here the legend was born. Here we inspired the whole world to create one of the most popular drinks in the world, pale lagers in general, pale style of beer. And beer is not just about drinking, guys, it's much more than that. It's piece or part of society. We go out with our friends, we chat over a beer, we meet new people, and if we drink with moderation in a healthy way, it always brings peace, unity, and nice memories. Look at us here. We're here from different countries, different backgrounds, different preferences, but here we are now learning together about a single drink we, in one way or the other, know. We all know it. So it's beautiful to see that it still has the power of uniting all of us. And beer of Pilsen, it's very important for us historically, but it's part of enjoyment of life in general. And I'm sorry that the king, Wenceslaus II, that established the city of Pilsen with the idea to create a city of beer, can see that his vision became reality. Of course, we did a few mistakes throughout the way to the top. We need to make mistakes to learn from them, right? But today we're not just a simple city of beer as he envisioned. We're the capital of it. Let's go. So this is our friend Bobo. He's not talking much, as you can see. He's working. He's not drinking for him, for Bobo. But he's showing you that the cellars that we are now going to visit were made by hands, just with these simple tools as Bobo is representing. That was very difficult because these cellars are along 9 kilometers, which is almost 6 miles. The area is 32,000 square meters and the depth goes from 12 to 21 meters. So it's a huge area underneath the brewery, and it was one of the most important parts of the production. Of course, the ingredients were prepared up there, the brewing and the shipping happened up there, but down here, the beer fermented in the cold area for 12 days. It lagered, matured for 30 days, and we stored it down here for some more weeks as well. So it was really, really busy and overcrowded. We had around 300 workers down there, and even with the horses, back then. So it was very, very busy in the past. Since 1993, we're officially not using the cellars anymore. For the real production, we have the big tanks I showed you from the bus, I hope you remember. But we still have a very small production in the cellars for you visitors to have a special tasting experience, but also to see that the quality of beer in the modern technology process is the same as the one in the old style barrel. Because although the technology is going further and we are actually going with it, the result must stay the same. So even the recipe must stay untouched. So we are checking on it every time to be sure that you're drinking the very same beer as those ancestors that tasted it for the very first time in 1842. We're getting down now. I need to ask you to be extremely careful, okay? The floor is original since 1839, since the very beginning of the production of the brewery itself. It's wet, can be slippery, so make sure it doesn't remember also your backside. It remembers a lot of history, so not your backside. Please don't fall. Try not to. Don't lean on the walls down there. There is a special protection line for the hygiene. There is a new layer now, so please don't stain your clothes. And it's more important than ever to stay in the group right now. We go down there, there is no signal, and it's a maze. If you get lost down there, it was a pleasure to meet you. And I hope you're now thirsty enough, to be excited enough, to stay with your tour guide, because she knows where the beer is. You get lost, no beer for you. That's fair, isn't it? So I'm your best friend now. Okay, let's go for the beer.
Mergem acum prin tunel. Din 1839 zicea că e podeaua de aici, din tunel. Hai să vedem cum e. Ce miros e pe aici?
E var, var umed.
Da, umezeală așa miros. Ceva miros. Ia să vedem podeaua.
Să nu ne pierdem, că
Da.
i-a părut bine că ne-a cunoscut.
Să ne pierdem, dar să găsim un butoi cu berea. Asta ar fi tare.
E imens locul. Uite și tu ce...
Da, e interesant, uite, ăsta îi filmez și tavanul.
Wow.
A mers ceva, e destul de măricel aici.
Cred că asta e doar o parte.
A, uite aici, hai să degustăm și noi să vedem.
So again, to don't lose time, meanwhile you're waiting for your piece of cake, I'm going to show you that you're drinking piece of history as well. This is the unfiltered and unpasteurized beer, the freshest you can get directly from the source. You cannot see through the glass because you still have the yeast in there that is clouding it. You can see the small dots floating inside. That's the yeast clouding it. Usually beer is without the yeast, so right now you're drinking the closest thing to the very first tasting of the brewmasters in the 19th century. So just imagine we're just doing an experiment. This came out and they just tasted this. They had no idea that they changed lives for the future and changed the industry of beer for the rest of our lives. So this is the most traditional Pilsner Urquell after the maturation process, the freshest one you can have.
Aici o să ne luăm bere direct din butoi.
E de la sursă.
Tak, proszę.
Thank you.
Oh, please.
Avem aici. Avem bericica, hai să ne punem să o gustăm acum.
Fair enough.
Ia,
Și gustul.
dar are ceva spumă. Hai
Deci
să...
asta e nefiltrat.
Da. Ia.
Direct de la sursă de aici.
Da. Ia, Hai să vedem cum e, da, să vedem cum e berecica.
Păi că trebuie să iau o gură mare de fapt.
Are gust, e mai amărui așa, dar e bună. Adică nu mi se pare că are gust de nefiltrată. Are gustul ca berea normală, parcă, nu?
Dar
E super bună.
E ca cea pe care am băut-o noi.
Da, deci chiar, da, e bună. Deci nefiltrată.
Wow, ce experiență să o băut aici în pivniță. Super.
Eu m-aș mai duce să mai beau unul, beau pe ăsta rapid. Să văd cum e.
No, not yet. We have to wait for something. Okay, sorry. Wait.
Cum ți se pare? Îți place?
E foarte bun.
Chiar,
Wow. Și cred că are mai mult alcool asta decât cele pe care le-am băut noi.
nu-mi dau seama, dar e amărui așa, nu prea mi se pare că are gust de nefiltrată.
To create this buzz, this noise, this bar, restaurant kind of environment where again we are enjoying ourselves and relaxing. That's the job of the beer. So let's celebrate it correctly, this living legend that we all are loving right now. So cheers! But we're in the Czech Republic, aren't we? So we should celebrate it in a proper Czech way. So, na zdraví! Na zdraví!
Da, dă și așa.
Gata, ne-a grăbit să bem berea.
Am dat așa pe gât.
Am dat shot pentru că a venit alt grup și era interesant dacă ne băgăm și cu grupul ăsta să mai băgăm o berecică.
Luăm o bere.
Foarte bună bere. Eu mă așteptam să fie puțin altfel, adică mă așteptam să fie mai dulceagă.
Pentru mine e perfect așa, pentru că nu e super amară, nu e... E perfectă.
Da, nu, e foarte bună, mi-a plăcut foarte mult, doar că e mai amar, așa, e ca un IPA din aia, Indian Pale Ale. Se simte amăreala sau poate mi-a rămas mie amăreala de la Hameiul ăla care l-am gustat atunci.
Nu, mie nu mi s-a părut amară, că nu-mi plac berile amare, dar asta chiar era super.
Da, cred că mi-a rămas mie amăreala aia, dar foarte bună, deci maximă. Da, merită turul, oricum e o atracție foarte interesantă. Acum mergem să vedem, cred că e cam gata și o să ieșim de aici, din zona asta.
It was a cooling chamber filled with ice until to the point of reaching more or less the goodness. The beer is just breaks. Thank you. Should not drink when I'm working. Anyway, the ice was included whole up there, just open. The ice had to stay here for about 2 years at least. So 2 years we kept the ice because we never knew the next winter was going to be cold enough to form the ice in the ponds in the city to collect it the next winter. So that was the reason for at least 2 years we kept it in here. It was actually closed with a wooden wall to keep it all together. And then here we had a small space for the water after it melted to travel through the channels on the floor, as you can see, all around 9 kilometers, 6 miles long cellars. We have 4 of these joint big rooms filled with ice and 80 small ones scattered all along 9 kilometers to evenly cool down the area. So it was very smart. The engineering was very nice for the time, and we used this cooling method with the natural and also artificial ice officially until 1987, but the very last ice stayed here until 1991. It took some time before it was really gone. Today would be impossible to do this kind of cooling because we don't have that ice anymore, guys. No, global warming, recycle. Anyway, if you look at all of this, it looks almost divine, right? So big, so mesmerizing, but it's done. It's produced by humans, by men. So it's beautiful to see that we are capable of anything. We just need to put our minds to it. We're just spoiled with technology, not ingredients. My goodness. We are spoiled with technology, so it's possible, it's beautiful, it's eco, so let's hope we're going to get to similar production for the future where we can reuse this kind of environment again. That is amazing. Set stone to its purest. Okay guys, let's move forward. to like the beer at the end of the tour, because what's more important in the brewery than to enjoy the product we produce, right? Let us know if you like the tour on every social media, Google, TripAdvisor, Smart Guide, just hashtag #PilsnerURQUELL so we can see your comment. If you did not like the brewery, the tour, just let us know why so we can change something for next visit. Usually people want more tasting. You can try that. Share photographs or videos to see the brewery through your own perspective. If you want more of the beer, you can visit a bar, a restaurant, or go to the Museum of the Beer in the city center, which is also very interesting. And I also hope when you get any beer in the world, but mainly Pilsner, you remember how difficult and complex it is to create just a class of beer, that people are really working hard for centuries to create a piece of pleasure for you. And I hope that after this visit, you're really going to enjoy the taste of beer even more than before. And this tour is going to stay with you for the rest of your lives. So thank you very much. Enjoy the stay in the Czech Republic if you're not from here. Safe journey home. And as we say in the brewery style, may God bless you with happiness and health. Goodbye. Thank you.
Like.
See you in the birthday party of Pilsner URQUELL around the 5th of October. Around the 5th of October. Yeah, perfect in here. By the way, we're going up in the souvenir shop by the elevator lift.
Suntem aici la shop-ul ăsta. Wow! Ce drăguț e plovărașul! 1490. Tot felul de chestii. Astea sunt simpatice tare. Ia, cât sunt? 350. Vreo 100 de lei, ceva de genul. Asta e depozitul. Astea sunt interesante. Halbe de bere. Astea sunt 20 de lei. La fel. O să ne luăm și noi 2 halbe.
Gata turul!
Gata!
Cum a fost?
Puțin fericiți de la berea aia.
cred că da, după berea aia ți se pare mai interesant
Este o
turul.
stare bună.
Da.
Wow, mie mi-a plăcut maxim. A fost prima experiență de genul ăsta. Bine, am mai fost la o degustare de vinuri în Ocramă.
Da, dar e altceva.
Chișinău, deci a fost extraordinar. Dar asta cu berea,
Prima
pentru mine
fabrică.
a fost prima experiență de genul ăsta și chiar mi s-a părut interesant.
Da.
A durat 100 de minute.
Chiar cât a durat? E 4:30 și am început la 2:30, deci 2 ore a durat, cam așa. Da, a fost super, mi-a plăcut și mie. Merită, da. Venit aici a costat, cât era biletul, mai
80
știi?
de lei de persoană.
80 de lei de persoană, da. Stai să nu ne calce mașini de pe aici.
Deci 160 de lei.
Da.
2 bilete.
Berea a fost interesantă.
Bună. Și experiența de a bea bere acolo în pivniță, direct din butoiul ăla, a fost tare rău.
Da.
Chiar super.
Eu am mai fost la Heineken acum o grămadă de timp, dar comparabil așa nici nu mai știu exact. Acolo era puțin mai interactiv, așa, parcă făceai mai multe chestii, dar aici ne-a povestit cât am apucat să filmăm, că n-am filmat chiar tot ce ne-a povestit și am mai avut niște filmulețe din alea care le-a pus, dar foarte ok, adică a fost interesant. Da, merită, recomandăm experiența. Dacă oricum asta e cea mai importantă chestie aici în Pâlzen. Berea și meci.
Totul e despre bere aici, deci n-ai cum să ratezi experiența asta.
Exact. Și acum, bineînțeles, mergem să mai bem niște beri din astea.
Mi s-a deschis apetitul.
Ne s-a deschis pofta. Mama, aici chiar n-ai cum să nu bei bere. Adică e foarte
păi bei bere
recomandat. Da, exact. Să vedem de unde ne mai luăm. Mai e un restaurant aici, poate, nu știu, să vedem.
Dar cred că e super full, acum că au ieșit toți.
Da, chiar. O să ne uităm să vedem acum la ieșiri.
Ne luăm câte o bere aici. Proaspătă. fix de aici, de la fabrică. Ne așezăm și la o măsuță aici. 12 lei e o halbă din asta. Wow, cât are? 300... 500 de mililitri.
Hai să mai vedem aici cum e halba
A
asta.
doua degustare.
Da. Hai să vedem dacă e la fel, dar nu, asta e altfel. Mă rog, ar trebui să fie proaspătă și asta.
Wow, asta e diferită.
Cum se pare?
E mult mai strong.
Da? Cred că îmi place mai mult asta, sincer.
Și cu un gust așa la final
Mai
de
bun, nu?
ceva.
De bere, de camei, de asta.
Amei ceva, da.
Da, da, e diferit. Aia era puțin, parcă mai amăruie. Și asta mai are puțin gustul de la final, e puțin mai intens. Dar și asta e nepasteurizată, dar e normală, nu e nefiltrată. Care îți place mai mult?
Cealaltă.
Da? Wow. Mie mi se pare asta mai interesant.
Asta e mult mai strong, e diferită.
Asta ca alcool are 4,4%, parcă așa țin minte din ce ne-a zis. Cred că atât are, e la fel. Deci nu are foarte mult alcool, dar e puțin mai amăruie așa. Adică...
Asta are un gust diferit la final, cealaltă
Da.
era puțin amăruie, dar n-avea un gust intens de
Da, da, da.
amei, să zic.
Oricum e bună, îți face poftă de bere. Hai, noroc!
Deci câtă bere am băut aici, n-am băut în câțiva ani. Bine, cineva de față e mai băutor de bere ca mine, dar eu prefer vinul. Dar ce pot spune e că berea e super bună și chiar vii aici să bei bere. E super, super bună și poți să bei așa multă, multă. Că nu e amară, e perfectă.
Gata, am plecat de la restaurant de aici. Mamă,
Ce soare e!
s-au adunat o grămadă de grupuri acum. Cred că probabil tururile care au mai fost la restaurant aici unde am stat și noi la bere. Super șmecher, chiar berea a fost bună. Acum o să mergem spre hotel și ne mai oprim să mâncăm pe undeva, că s-a făcut foame după atâta bere. Să vedem pe unde ne oprim să ne luăm ceva. Wow, ce super sunt desenele astea aici. Trecem pe sub un pod în drumul nostru spre cazare. Wow, ce zonă superbă aici. Ne apropiem de centrul orașului. E așa soare afară, dar e friguț, destul de friguț. Cam 10 grade așa aici. Da.
Se vede.
Atmosferă de iarnă, aș zice, mai ales
Suntem în luna februarie pe aici, chiar dacă e aprilie.
aproape mai, de fapt.
Da, chiar.
Da,
Câteva zile o să fie 1 mai.
ne-am și congelat puțin așa cu bere rece. Dar
Mergea mai
E
mult
bine.
pe căldură.
da, mergeam vin fiert acum pe vremea
Dar ne
asta.
încălzim că avem de mers.
Da, da,
Până
la
la
mers e
hotel.
foarte ok. Să vedem cât o să țină semaforul ăsta. Era un semafor care ținea, cred că, 3 secunde. O să tai eu la edit de când se schimbă. Ia, gata. Hai, să vedem. Deci încă verde, verde. Noi acum mergem repede și gata. Suntem la jumatea străzii. Mamă, deci ăla n-ai cum să traversezi decât 3 pași. Oh. Da, exact.
Am venit să și mâncăm și nu se poate fără o bere.
Uite cum arată spuma ea.
Da, ne uitam la spuma asta perfectă de 4 degete.
Ia vezi deasupra. Ce aromată e aia. Ce aromă.
Da, asta e bere nefiltrată, Pilsner, Gambrinus și aici avem, cum se numea? Birel, da, e un fel de radler cu grefle, da, foarte bun, super și acum așteptăm mâncarea. Mi-a venit și mâncărica, eu mi-am comandat un gulaș, cam așa arată. Wow, deci miroase de... nu pot să descriu. Ăștia-s dumplings. Aici avem vită, ceapă verde pe deasupra și aici avem un porc marinat peste noapte, cam așa scria în meniu, cu un mix de legume și cu un sos. Wow, ce bine arată și ce bine miroase. Poftă bună!
Deci mâncarea asta e nebunie. Mamă, cât de bună e. E cu gust, cu tot ce trebuie. Porcușor din asta preparat cu cartofi din ăștia țărănești. Și gulașul ăla e super bun, e ca un fel de pâine așa. Pâine mai albă. Mamă. Da, sunt foarte mulți localnici aici și chiar e nota 10.
Deci aici toată lumea bea bere, deci nu există. Absolut toți beau bere. Și la masa aia, și aici. Deci bei bere de sete. Super tare.
A ajuns și nota la tot ce am mâncat. A fost 433 de coroane cehești, adică 91 de lei. Super preț. Gata, și masa a fost super.
Cea mai bună.
Mamă, ce bună a fost mâncare, deci a fost super mega bună.
Deci nota 10.
Da, foarte bun gulașul ăla. E diferit față de gulașul de Ungaria, acolo au și sosul ăla picant.
Da,
ăsta n-a fost deloc, da. Și porcul ăla a fost tot ce trebuie, mamă.
Deci cel mai bun pe care l-am mâncat.
Și porții super mari și
Chiar?
nota chiar super ok la preț, 91 de lei.
Recomandăm
90 de lei.
restaurantul ăsta, e maxim.
Da, e puțin mai departe de centru, fix lângă hotelul nostru, mai departe la modul 10 minute, că acolo în centru sunt ceva mai scumpe, dar...
Și sunt mulți turiști, prețuri de turiști, aici sunt doar localnici, deci...
Da, aici erau majoritatea
prețurile
localnici,
sunt
dar și în centru nu mi s-a părut scump, adică Cehia e destul de ieftin așa, adică merită, nu știu, mi se pare chiar mai ieftin decât în România, nu?
Da.
Mie așa mi se pare. La prețul cel puțin o halbă de bere e cam 10-12 lei oriunde te duce.
Aici ești în ținutul verii.
Da,
Trebuie
exact.
să fie ieftină, dar și mâncarea, și calitatea, și
Da.
tot.
Gata, încheiem vlogul aici, ne ducem să ne și odihnim, deci a fost o zi super plină astăzi, avem și apus așa în partea aia de acolo. Recomandăm și turul cu fabrica de bere PILSNER
E o
URQUELL.
experiență pe care chiar
Exact.
merită să o trăiești aici.
Așa. Și ne vedem la următorul vlog, de unde o fi. Pa!